This video is brought to you by Quiztones, my all-time favorite app for learning frequencies.
What's up, friend? Today I want to tell you how I got my dream client. We're out in the beautiful state of Montana. I've been mixing remotely while traveling, and it has been awesome. I've got, as always, my sidekick here, Margo. I've kind of made her part of the the channel now, and she doesn't really want to sit in the sun, so she's probably not going to last very long. You can go ahead. So I had a coaching call recently and told this story, and it had been on my mind a long time, and it's been on my mind all day, honestly, and I really wanted to share it with you. There's so much stuff online about how to get clients, how to maintain clients, how to put yourself out there. And I kind of just want to share something with you that I've sort of figured out kind of by accident, but that works super, super, super well, especially if you're looking for the long game, you know, like, especially if you don't want to bother yourself with trying to make some crazy hit viral video. Because honestly, I've been viral before and it didn't really turn into anything. And so this kind of system that I've figured out is good for even small views, and I'll kind of explain why. So a couple years ago, I was at the studio, and through a mutual friend, there was an artist that happened to be coming through town that was from another country. And he's a known artist overseas, and he was just going to come through, wanted to check out the studio. You know, he's basically on a road trip kind of a thing. So I was very excited just to meet him. Just, you know, I just love meeting artists and cool people. And so he came by the studio, and it was so funny because when he showed up, I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting like a tour bus or like I don't know. But he showed up in this small 4x4 vehicle with a friend, and they were doing the transcontinental, I think it's called the Transcontinental Trail across America. So it was like a road trip. And what he does is he does these big epic trips with one of his friends and writes a song every single day. And that's kind of how he comes up with his albums, basically. So I loved that idea. Obviously, I live in a van. At that time, it was my dream to be traveling all the time, and I'm finally now doing that. And so we just connected instantly. So when he was there, I played a song that I had mixed. And it's, to this day, my favorite mix I've ever done. And I played it for him, and he loved it. You know, he said it was really good, all these different things. Whatever. And so after we kind of did the tour and we talked for a while, he invited me to come eat with them, to have a lunch real quick. And so I came, we had a few margaritas, one each, I should specify there. And we just chatted about life and his trip and the beauty and simplicity, just stories. It was really a really cool experience. And in the back of my mind, going through that whole hangout session, and even in the studio, I was running this thread of like, okay, I need to get this guy. Like, I need to work with him. Like, he's just such a cool person. I would just love to work with him, right? So it didn't pan out because he wasn't recording anything at the time. You know, he didn't need anything mixed. He didn't need anything mastered. He didn't need any Atmos mixes. He was just in the middle of his kind of creative process for his next project. So we became friends on Instagram. And one of the things that I started doing a little bit after that, it was around the same time. And for real, you should steal this idea and you should implement it yourself. And I'll kind of explain how you can do that at the end. But basically what I decided to do was I really wanted to get in the habit of posting a story every single day. I started noticing that the people that were watching my stories were people that were obviously invested in what I was doing. You know, It was past clients that I had worked with. It was sometimes potential clients. It was anybody that just kind of connected with me and the things that I liked. And at first my stories were just kind of nothing, you know. And then I started kind of getting inspired by doing them every day, and trying to get creative in terms of, like, as an example, if there was a book I really wanted to read, I used the excuse of posting stories about it to read that book. If there was a place I wanted to go outdoors, I kind of, in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, cool, I can make this happen so that I can post about it, post this story. And I'm not talking about anything complicated. Stories are the simplest things you can post. And once I started doing that every single day, I started noticing that the same people were watching them every day. And I'm not talking about getting hundreds of views every single day. Like, there were times when, you know, the stories really, like, people just really loved them, the overall. But I was more interested in, obviously, these kind of potential clients that were in this realm. And so this artist that was from overseas, he watched every single one of them. He hearted every single one of them. He would send me messages every once in a while saying I was doing it right, or that's awesome, or that's inspiring. And it was really cool because I lost that, like, I want to work with you, and it turned more into, like, wow, this is just a genuinely awesome person. And we were, like, kind of becoming friends, except for the funny thing was, it was like one-sided in a lot of ways, because he was seeing my life every single day. He was seeing Margo and my other dogs running and playing every single day. He was seeing every single hike that I did every single day. He was seeing the studio stuff that I would post. And I kind of found a formula that's like an 80-20 formula, where 80% of the stories that I would post were my life and things that I was passionate about. And I wanted to do those things every day, and I wanted to show that I was doing those things every single day, like almost like keeping myself accountable, just to have a better life. And then the 20% were studio. So in the beginning, it was the opposite. It was mostly studio and a little bit of life. And I just did not find success with that, because people just thought it was boring. They just weren't, it didn't seem like they were as interested in it over time. So fast forward 2 years, I'm posting every day, and I am actually gaining clients through this form, through these posting these stories. And I get a message from this gentleman and says, hey, like, I'd love to have a phone call with you. And I was like, oh yeah, that would be awesome. I would love to chat with you. And we get on the phone, and the first thing that he says is, man, I don't even remember what it was, but some adventure that I had done in Arkansas at the time. I did some climbing and camping. I was doing that quite a lot at that time on the weekends and whatever. And of course, I was posting about it every day. And he just went into, like, I just love it. You just live in such a good life. It's just so inspiring to see you out there every day. And then that was the main thing. And then he went to studio. He was like, oh, and looks like you're doing good work. That's awesome, whatever. And he was like, I just wanted to talk to you, and I wanted to know if you wanted to mix my next album. And I was blown away in that moment, because that's my dream client. Like, the type of music, how cool this person is, just his life and story, and how we relate to each other so much. Like, there's no way us working together is going to make something bad. Like, it's too amazing of a connection, especially because it had been built over 2 years of him watching my life play out. Just blew my mind. It was just such a cool experience. And I just know for a fact that if we could go back in time and he came to the studio and we had the same thing play out, and then we became friends on Instagram, and then I just for 2 years didn't post really that much. I just let my kind of, like, fear of throwing myself out there and posting lame stuff maybe every day, you know, like, or stuff that wasn't necessarily about what I was trying to sell. Like, if I wouldn't have done any of that stuff, I know for a fact that I wouldn't have been top of mind when he was ready to find a mix engineer for his project. I know that thought came in, who knows when it came in, could have been a month before he called me, but I know that thought came in that was like, okay, I need to plan this out. We're doing production, you know? Who am I gonna call? Josh. Because I'm in his mind every single day. Not even necessarily my mixing every day. Like, who wants to be bombarded every day with, you know, somebody else's mixing or whatever? Oh my God. Sorry, this plant is kind of blowing in the camera. Maybe it looks cool. But I think what I want you to take away from this is it's important to obviously put yourself out there, and I think there's a lot of freedom in thinking about it in terms of like, okay, if I can just commit to at least posting one story every single day, just one story, just one, doesn't matter how big your account is, just one. If you commit to that one thing, you'll start off and you'll post a bunch of stuff about what you're doing that day, and you might start to notice that, you know, you wish you were posting about going on a walk every day, or you wish you were posting about some shift in your mindset that you've had. Like, you start to just gain these ideas and it inspires you to do things. And what's really cool is, even though you're not necessarily posting that you're, as an example, mixing songs every single day, you are showing people that you're doing something every single day that makes you happy, that you're passionate about, and that allows you to grow every day. And I'm not saying any of this stuff to brag or whatever, but I cannot tell you how many messages that I've gotten from especially clients that I really want to work with, and I still haven't booked them yet, but I just really want to work with them. And I've had them send messages just saying like, I just am so inspired seeing you do this every day. Like, this is just, it's really awesome, and it's inspired me to XYZ. And that's really cool, because even if I don't get to work with them, I'm still building this relationship over time of somebody that that sees what I'm doing and cares about it. And if I could just inspire one of those people to, as an example, go on a walk every day, like, that's a huge win. Besides just money, just besides making money, besides getting a client, like, that's really, really cool. So yeah, that's what I want you to do today. I think it would be really cool. And I think it's something that is just more powerful than you can imagine. It really is. And the other added benefit that I have to add is, among mixing, I also do a lot of training, and I do a lot of live sound stuff and studio stuff. So what's cool is whenever I go to these venues, or I go to the theater, or I go to the studio, all my current clients watch my stories every day. And so whenever I show up at the gig, every single time, everybody knows what I've been doing, and they all ask about Margo, or they all ask about some hike I did, or they all ask about some book that I'm obsessed with that I kind of shared, or they ask about my insane adventure climbing mountains, you know? And it's a really cool thing to walk into a building of people that you haven't seen in a couple years, and they all know about you, and it just breaks the ice. And you're like, oh, cool, sweet. You guys all watch my stories. Awesome. Like, I'm just glad, you know, we can talk about it. And it's cool because you get to talk with them a little deeper too, instead of just the, hey, how are you? Yeah, doing good. Oh, I've been, you know, doing this stuff. Like, they know what I've been doing every day. So they ask about it, and then they say like, oh, I'd love to get into hiking. Like, how do you do this? And it makes the conversation so much deeper than just all about work. because that human to human connection, you cannot, there's nothing you can do that can replace that. Like, all this digital stuff is amazing. It's amazing what we can do now, but that connection, that relationship that builds over time is just impenetrable and very, very powerful. So I just implore you to go out there and do that. I think that you'll be blown away with how beneficial it can be, and it's such a simple thing. So if you want help with this, I am currently doing a 4-week, I'm calling it the Mix and Momentum Mastermind. And what this is it's a 4-week group session. We're going to have 5 to 7, it kind of depends, people in this group. I'm keeping it super, super, super small and contained. My dog's barking. And if you click the link in the description, you can apply. I talk to every single person that comes in there. And the idea here is that we, as a group, are coming together to really push marketing and content for your business. So the idea is that every single week we meet 3 times a week, and we work on content creation, we work on finding your voice, and we work on how you can market yourself in this world to gain at least 1 client by the end of that month. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, go check that out. It's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait. And the deadline to apply is this Friday, August 15th. And so if you're watching this after August 15th, I'm so sorry that you didn't make it in. But there's also a link in there for a free school community that I have in there that has tons of resources as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you want to find out, if you're a new watcher to my videos, if you want to find out more about me and kind of my story, you can watch this video right here, where I do it from the top of a mountain, and I just kind of talk about my story and why I am sort of teaching this stuff. All right, friend, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.